How are we? Jake, RB Thomas. Started a new one this morning, had a camera set up. We were going to try and document the whole process, and obviously the battery on the camera has died almost straight away when I've just gone to check it. This is what we've been up to. So we started this morning, we got a picture on the drone. This was just a bare site. We've turned up. We were hoping to film profiling, which is our timber ring around the outside which holds our string lines up. We've also got a bit of a temporary driveway going in, which hopefully is done by the time we go home, because it's blocking me in from getting home. And we've just had the drill set up on the digger, so that's some of our nails on our profiles holding our lines up. More on that probably in another video, but that's our site. That's all our holes drilled, ready for our piles. We've got our standard 300 deep, a bit deeper than that, but 300 deep pile footings, and then we've got our anchor piles in the corners. It's just over 900 deep. So Justin's just laying out our profile timber. This just forms a level ring around the outside of the building, which allows us to mark and attach string lines, so that the string lines essentially give us a guide for where the outermost points of the building are, the corners being crucial points. What we're doing is trying to find our external corners, and we're trying to make the biggest square that we can. So we mark out, we take our overall measurements off the plan for length and width. We set those string lines up on our nice level profile, and then once we've got two sets of parallel lines, we can then measure from opposite corner to opposite corner, and then we adjust parallel based on those measurements. So what we want corner to corner one way to be the same as corner to corner the opposite way. And if your diagonal measurements are the same, well, it's perfectly square. The other way you can do it is a 3-4-5 triangle, whereby 3 meters one way and then 4 meters at a right angle. If you measure the diagonal between those 2 points, it should be 5 meters. This is good because it works in any multiple of 3, 4, 5. So you can have 12, 16, 20. You could have 30 meters, 40 meters, 50 meters. Any multiple, provided it's 3, 4, 5, will work. And obviously the bigger the better. If you're setting out a building, and the building's 30 meters long or whatever, you don't want to be doing 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters. You want to push out that full 30 meters, or as far as you can. And the only thing really better than the 3, 4, 5 is if you can make a big square and check your diagonals. So you can see here we've got our pegs in, our timber laid out, and we're just starting to set some heights out with a dumpy level. So we are about 650 top of floor above existing ground. So we've just gone to the high point of the ground. Our pegs aren't quite 650, but we've got 140 mils of joist and 190 mils of bearer, which gives us about 330 mils plus 20 mil of flooring. So it's not crucial, but that's about where our floor set is, about 650. So we know our piles can be at least, or at maximum about 330 mils lower than that 650 mark, and they'll still be long enough to support the floor to the right height. So because of the height of our pegs and the slope of the ground, we are setting those piles or the profiles for our strings roughly to where the cutoff height is going to be, so that 330 below floor level sort of height. So that's what Justin's marking now. Once we've got the pegs marked, we'll start shooting that timber up, and then once that's level, then we can start setting our lines out. Morning, day 2. This is all we managed to get done yesterday. Well, we put the poles in the holes this morning. Got a bit of the driveway done with a bit of help from Justin. So we're profiled, holes drilled, piles in, strings back up. We are just about to start bracing these piles ready for concrete. We've got an inspection at 2 o'clock. The engineer came out yesterday to inspect the holes. He's all happy. Council coming out today at 2 o'clock. So they want to have a look at the holes as well, make sure they're happy. And it's always a good idea, first inspection of the job, just to catch up with the building inspector, talk about the project, address any concerns that he has. We can pass on any concerns that we have, and then we're working coherently going forward, and it just stops a lot of drama and bits and pieces that are, well, avoidable, unnecessary drama. We don't like that. So yeah, this is us. Stay tuned. So here we're just setting the piles up ready for the concrete to be poured. So obviously we've got to hold them reasonably accurately in their final location while we pour the concrete and until it can set. So what we're doing here in the name of sustainability is we're using the timber that we're going to use for the bearers, our framing timber, our 8x2s. We're pegging that in the ground in a line. We've got our string lines up. We've got 4 rows of bearers, so we've got 4 lines going through the middle. We've got 2 outside lines, 2 lines in the middle, and then we've got lines that tell us our length. They're all square and parallel to each other, and that's what we've drilled our holes to. That's what we're putting the piles to. The key thing is that the pile ideally wants to be in the middle of the hole, or as central as it can be. So we're using the same lines that we use to drill the holes so that everything lines up. That will be our guide. That's what we'll work to as we brace them in place. And we're just pegging the 8x2 and then we're screwing the piles to it. So screwing is good. Nailing's faster, but nailing will take 3 times longer to pull apart, and you can damage the timber. By just using big tech screws, it maybe takes half a second longer to put it together, but it's so much faster to take it apart, and it doesn't do any damage. So we can reuse all of that wood, which is good. We're also lifting all the piles up because we've got to have a minimum 100 mil of concrete under the pile. This stops the pile sliding through the concrete footing as the weight of the building is put on top of it. It also increases the area, the footprint of the pile. So piles are 125 mil square, and our holes are about 400 square or something. So instead of having 125 mils square with the weight of a building on it, we've essentially made that a 400 mil square for the weight of the building. So it just helps to bear that load. And this is just an easy way to brace. Doesn't use a lot of extra material. We're all about trying to minimize waste as much as we can, and just generally find the easiest solution for us, for the client, and yeah, it's just a better job all around, really. So that's what we're up to here. Just thought I'd make a bit of a video, show you exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. So this is our holes. These bits are 8x2 here are actually what's going to be our bearers. So here's a run that we've done. Just pegged them, alternated. We've marked the height of the pile here while it was on the ground, and then lifted it up and screwed it, and that allows us to get about 100 mil of concrete underneath the thing. Our corner piles are right on our strings, so we're pretty good. And we'll check these as the concrete goes in, because I mean they are a little bit wobbly. It's fine to do it this way, but you just got to be aware that things will move around a bit. The bottoms won't move, which is important, and then obviously the tops we'll be able to move those a little bit once the concrete's in. So we're pretty sweet along that string line. One of our holes is slightly out because my digger driving is well, I'm not a digger driver. But yeah, everything else lines up pretty good, so we'll just trim this hole out. This pile will be extra solid because it's going to have heaps of concrete around it. That's where we're up to. That's what we're doing. So there we go. Braced enough. We'll give them a bit of a wiggle once the concrete's in. But yeah. And those lines are roughly our cut-off height. So our profile timber around the edge is, it's not straight, but it should be pretty straight for level, for up and down. So it gives us roughly our cut-off height. But to be honest, once this is all poured and set, we'll remark our levels anyway. We probably won't trust these profiles because I did hit them a little bit with a digger. So just a little bit. So just wait for the inspector to turn up now, and then concrete is booked for 7:30 tomorrow morning. So I'll try and remember to set a camera up for that, but it looks just like people pouring wheelbarrows into holes, so it's yeah, not too exciting, but we'll try and film it. Morning team, nice early morning start. We'll chuck some concrete in these holes. Doesn't really look any different to yesterday, but we're literally just waiting for the truck to show up. So hopefully we can back him up to the garage there. He's not going to make that turn because it's pretty tight, but it's not too far to barrow, and it's pretty flat. So we'll get the barrows from there, and then we'll start in that back corner and work towards ourselves. So we've got a couple of runs there to get barrows through the profiles. Nice and easy, fill those up, and then we'll
check them against the lines before we leave, and then Monday morning we will start framing, and yeah, should look like a floor by Tuesday. I think we'll have everything framed ready for flooring. Yeah, Friday today, so it gives us the weekend, gives today and 2 days over the weekend for it to set off and go nice and solid, so spot on.
So once we've filled 2 or 3 holes, we just go through with a level and just check them for plumb and check them against the line, just to make sure that things aren't moving around too much. We do that as we go along, as we fill the holes up, and then once all the holes are full, we'll put the last couple of lines up that would be in the way of the wheelbarrows, and then we'll give them all one final check.
So the aftermath is quite disgusting. What we'll do now that all the holes are filled up, we'll go around. We've started to give these a bit of a scrape, some of the overspill. So we've given this side a bit of a scrape, and then we'll go through with a brush, a bit of water, and we'll just clean off all our bracing timber, because as I said earlier, these are going to be our bearers. That's what's going to sit on top of the piles. So it's just a way that we can conserve material and just be a lot less wasteful. So even our profile timber is actually what we're using for purlins down the track, which is what our roof is going to attach to. So and they'll still be fine to use at that stage by the time we're ready for roof. So the only timber really we're going to throw away will be the offcuts of the piles. Obviously some of them are quite a bit longer than others, but we've got a sloped site, so we get a bit of an assortment. And then just our timber pegs really is going to be our rubbish. So to date, that's our rubbish pile there. That's a wheelbarrow for reference, so it wouldn't even fill the bottom of a wheelbarrow. Yeah, we're pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Not economical, eh? Well, good for the environment. Sustainable. We are sustainability. We are good for the environment. So yeah, that's us. Right, so the concrete truck turned up about 7:30 and it's now 8:45. We've cleaned up. All the holes are poured. Justin's scraping up the last of the overspill now. We've cleaned all our bearer timber off, so it's spotless, ready to be used on Monday when we pull all this apart. But yeah, we'll do another video on Monday. Hopefully the camera on the hill is recording some of it, and should be a lot more interesting. We can see the floor go down, should happen pretty quick. So yeah,